Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is 20th of April, now it's 11:30, middle of the day by Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my channel in which I share latest updates on the news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. There are quite a few very significant developments and news that I like to share with you, and I will start with Ukrainian special military operation, if I may. And the first news that I'd like to share with you is reported by RIA Novosti news agency, according to which Russian airborne units did manage to block Artyomovsk, which is Bakhmut, from two directions. And let me show you on the map. Artyomovsk, and as I understand, RIA Novosti's report is about this road here that connects Bakhmut with Khramovo and then Chisovyar, and also on the northern part, and when it comes to southern part, it's about this H32 highway. This pro-Ukrainian map did acknowledges that this H32 highway is under direct Russian control, but yesterday we did have some reports on different media outlets and Telegram channels that Russian side did manage to establish direct control over this road also, this country road that goes through Khramovo. There were some reports that some heavy clashes taking place in close vicinity of Khramovo itself. So probably Russian airborne units did play a crucial role in this operation. And now we can say that even if Zelensky's regime will give order to Ukrainian forces that are still trapped in this western part of Bakhmut to retreat, they will find it hard to do so, because without roads, even broken country roads, they will be forced to move through fields. And of course, heavy military equipment will stuck in the mud. And because this is mainly open terrain, even if Ukrainian units will retreat on their foot, they will be, they will not have a chance to hide behind anything really, and they will become a easy target for Russian artillery. So it's truly difficult, very difficult situation for Bakhmut garrison, what is left from Bakhmut garrison, especially if we take an account latest report from Russian Defense Ministry, according to which PMC Wagner units did manage to establish full control over the 3 more blocks inside Bakhmut. So PMC Wagner units are very active. They are constantly on offensive, and as I understand, this southeast part of Bakhmut, this not Bakhmut, but this small pocket that's still formally under control of Zelensky's regime, is now at least partially controlled by PMC Wagner units, and also these western parts also. But yet again, because of huge concentration of Ukrainian forces in this small pocket that are still under their control, of course it will take time for PMC Wagner units to establish full control over this city. To be honest, I find it truly hard to even guess now how long this Battle of Bakhmut will continue, because according to some reports, situation for Bakhmut garrison, Ukrainian units are so desperate that they may start mass surrendering and mass retreating just any time, in next hour or next day, just any time. And that's why probably no one will be able right now to give a correct, not to guess, but correct prediction when this story of Bakhmut will finally end. Let's continue now, and this is quite interesting news. RIA Novosti is reporting that Russian side did manage to shut down Su-25 attack plane in direction of Ugledar, and in addition, according to latest reports of Russian Defense Ministry, only in 24 hours, last 24 hours, Russian air defense systems and fighter jets did manage to shut down two MiG-29 fighter jets of Ukrainian Armed Forces and two Su-25 attack planes. Some reports even suggest that Russian side did shut down four MiG-29 fighter jets. But in any case, we are seeing activization of Ukrainian Air Forces in last 24 to 48 hours. And as I understand, this is happening because Zelensky's regime is now in the final stage of preparation to conduct a large-scale counteroffensive in direction of Azov Sea. That's why they are using the last reserves of air forces, and I don't have a confirmation of this information, but my guess is that these MiG-29 fighter jets that was shut down by Russian side was probably delivered to Zelensky's regime from Slovakia or Poland. So those new deliveries already are, if my guess is correct, then they already trying to play some role, those military deliveries, those planes, and many of them already become scrap. Let's continue now, and this is TASS News Agency's report, according to which there were some explosions in Zaporozhye, and yesterday I did share on my Telegram channel information about it, but yesterday late afternoon, Russian side did conduct quite a large drone strike in Zaporozhye direction. Ukrainian of Zelensky's regime is saying that they did manage to shut down over 90% of drones, but I truly don't believe that Zelensky's regime is able to use its air defense systems in such a effectiveness, with such effectivity, especially because of so many reports that Zelensky's regime is running out of missiles. But anyway, I did share information about this drone strike in Zaporozhye region, and as I understand, Moscow now actively targeting large groupings of forces, Ukrainian forces in Zaporozhye direction, and also warehouses where military equipment is where Zelensky's regime is hiding military equipment. During the day, maybe during today's update from Russian Defense Ministry, we will probably learn what exactly was targeted by Russian drones, but for now we only have information that some huge explosions was heard in Zaporozhye. Let's continue, and this is quite interesting, also interesting and strange same time, this information. So according to RIA Novosti, NASA denied claims of Zelensky's regime that US satellite did went down over the Kiev region during the previous night. NASA was forced to make such a statement because yesterday, and I also shared that footage on my Telegram channel, something did enter sky over the Kiev region, and there was some huge lightning and explosions. And because air defense systems of Zelensky's regime didn't work in Kiev or Kiev region, they come up with this idea that it was a US satellite that went down. I truly find it difficult, hard to believe. I mean, we are talking about NASA, man. They are top-level professionals, and whenever some old satellites are out of use, and whenever Russian side or US or China, whenever they are planning to descend these old satellites, usually they are doing it over the Pacific Ocean, in far away from any not just city, but just any land whatsoever. And that's why I could not believe that these idiots in Kiev really come up with these statements that it was US satellite. But anyway, NASA was forced to make official statement that no US satellite went down, especially over the Ukraine. Let's continue now, and this is RIA Novosti's report, which is also, you may find strange, because deputy of Ukraine's defense minister Anna Malyar did stated yesterday afternoon that Ukrainian forces did manage to conduct some storming operations in Artyomovsk or Bakhmut, also in direction of Ugledar, in direction of Marinka. And if you listen to her, I mean, she went full-on crazy mode during this when she was making these statements, because if you listen to her, Ukrainian forces are conducting offensive operations on the entire front line. I mean, she is truly out of touch with reality. But I find it interesting just to highlight how crazy they really are. I mean, associates of Zelensky's regime, and that's why I'm sharing this information with you. Of course, there is no storming operation of Ukrainian forces just nowhere. They are retreating or desperately trying to hold on positions that they have right now, especially when it comes to Bakhmut. And its situation of Bakhmut garrison is so desperate that, as I said, they may start surrendering in mass and retreating in mass in an organized manner just any moment. Maybe when I will upload this update and when I will check media outlets for some additional new informations, maybe I will see information that Bakhmut garrison is running from the city and surrendering. That's how desperate the situation is. Let's continue now, and this is RIA Novosti's report, also very interesting, according to which Poland now coming up with initiative that yes should ban not just import of grain from Ukraine, but also other agricultural products. So it seems like Eastern European states, Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, Bulgaria, they truly fed up with this grain deal, with this situation when cheap produce from Ukraine is flooding European markets. It does hurts European farmers, and they are protesting almost on daily basis now. And also we have some reports that quality of Ukrainian grain or some other agricultural products are quite low, and that's one more reason why many countries in the central and eastern part of Europe are now coming up with this strong position to block any imports from Ukraine. Well, Zelensky's regime not gonna like this, but this information is interesting, not just as it is when it comes to some agricultural dealings between the sides, but we are now seeing that some states, Hungary, Poland, and Slovakia, states that theoretically may enter western parts of Ukraine and claim some territories that belonged to them before Second World War. These states now openly not just criticizing Zelensky's regime. It's not really critique, but they are just opposing. They are openly opposing Ukraine now, not in military terms yet, but on political terms, because of course all these topics is a political issue also. So maybe in coming weeks or months we will see that these states, Hungary was staying away from Zelensky's regime anyway, but we may see that Poland and Slovakia, maybe even Romania, will start truly distancing themselves from Zelensky's regime to prepare ground for direct involvement in this conflict, to claim once again, to claim territories that some decades ago belonged to those states. Let's see, but me personally, I'm quite surprised, to be honest. I did not expect that Warsaw or some other capitals that actively sending weapons to Zelensky's regime will start acting this way in towards Ukraine. Let's continue now, and this is TASS News Agency's report, according to which White House did make a statement that Biden administration has no information about any peace initiatives of Macron. They have no details what this initiative is about, but they will love to receive some information and make up the mind about it. And same time we have report from Bloomberg, according to which we have an article in Bloomberg, according to which Macron's peace initiative may cause let me translate this word, man. Raskol, split, yes. So according to Bloomberg, Macron's peace initiative may cause some split inside the EU, because some member states are full-on supporting Zelensky's regime, and some states now are trying to come up with some other positions because they are tired really with this conflict, and they cannot support Zelensky's regime no more without damaging their own defense. And to be honest, many media outlets in the West are very publishing now articles with some heavy criticism of Macron, isn't it? Because if you remember, when Macron went to China, he had some different. China did receive him very differently than some other EU politicians. And once Macron go back to France, he come up with some strange for Western elite statements that Europe should be more independent from US, and EU member states should think more about some sovereignty and stuff like that. And of course, no one in Washington and London probably did like these statements from Macron. And he also said that they should distance themselves from dollar, just to make sure that they are on safe side. And now Macron is coming up with some peace plan. I believe in Washington and London, the elites, they are furious. And if that's the case, and they are attacking Macron directly now, for this moment they are using media outlets that are under their control, like Bloomberg, for example. But in coming weeks or months, we may even see some. Maybe we may even see that Washington and London will find some ways to support protest movement in France to remove Macron from the office, because he is truly acting. Macron lately, I mean, last, let's say 2-3 weeks, acting like he's not part of this anti-Russian super globalist group or criminal gang. And yes, probably no one in the Western elites are happy with him, and that's why I think that in coming weeks we may see even more protests in France, and probably Washington and London will find a way to fund these protests, intensify these protests, and eventually remove Macron from the office. But yet again, let's see, time will tell. And yes, when it comes to peace and the US position, that's US position, demonstration of it. Biden administration decided to give Ukraine yet another military aid package. This time it's $325 million, and mainly in this package will be ammunition for HIMARS multi-launch rocket systems and artillery shells, but also some missiles for some TOW missiles for Bradley armored vehicles and some other ammunition. But in general, I mean, that's the answer of White House on Macron's initiative to conduct some peace negotiations. Washington and London don't want to hear anything about peace now, and probably this will continue before Russian side will achieve decisive victory in this conflict. And it will happen, but it will take some time. Let's continue now, and RIA Novosti is reporting that according to Flight Radar site, US entirely stopped using its strategic surveillance drones, Global Hawk drones, over the Black Sea. So US is not sending no more these drones in direction of Crimea or Russian borders in general. And this has happened first time since that incident when QH or HQ9 US drone went down over the Black Sea some 2-3 weeks ago. Probably you'll remember that incident. It seems like US did learn something. Maybe Russian side did give notice to Washington that same will happen to every other drone that they will send in direction of Russian borders. And yes, maybe Pentagon did listen, who knows. But according to flight radars, US stopped using Global Hawks over the Black Sea, which is interesting. Let's continue, and this is TASS News Agency's report, according to which Lavrov is in Cuba right now, and he will have negotiations with leadership of Cuba. I hope, including President of Cuba, Miguel Diaz-Canel, I hope relationships between Russia and Cuba, good relationships, will reach new heights, and I hope, to be honest, I hope economical relationships and trade relationships between the sides will also develop in a more fast rate. And if that's the case, then probably avio companies of two countries will conduct more flights, because more people will travel from Russia to Cuba and from Cuba to Russia, and this will bring down prices on tickets. I hope that will happen because we have relatives in Cuba, and we love to go to Cuba and see them. And after all, Cuba is a great place to be. So yeah, I have my personal interest also to see that Russian and relationship between Russia and Cuba is developing in a great speed and great manner. So good news. And this is RIA Novosti's report. Few more informations, and so this is RIA Novosti's report, which is based on some publications in Western media outlets, according to which Putin did show middle finger to the U.S. elites when he personally received in Kremlin defense minister of China, who is under U.S. sanctions, by the way. So, I mean, I believe Putin had talks with the Chinese defense minister because there are some topics that should be discussed on top level, and that was a priority for Putin. But same time, if this meeting will somehow upset Biden's administration, I'm quite sure Putin will have no worry about it. So yes, in some sense, probably these Western medias that publish articles in this sense that Putin did show middle finger to U.S. elites, yes, probably it's correct. But yet again, Russian and Chinese relationships are much more complicated and important than trolling Biden or his associates. And let's continue now. This is quite interesting. RBK News Agency is reporting that head of Russian Pacific Fleet, Admiral Avakians, is no longer will be number one in Pacific Fleet. He was removed from his position, according to this information, because he will now work on some other directions. But it's interesting that this happened during the exercises that Russian side did conduct on Pacific Fleet just in previous few days. Maybe Russian defense minister, or maybe Putin was not happy with readiness of Pacific Fleet. I don't know. Or maybe these informations are not connected, and this Admiral Avakians was planning way ahead to change his workplace. I don't know, but this person is no longer chief of Russian Pacific Fleet. And this is also interesting news, because according to TASS News Agency, flagman of Pacific Fleet, Russian Pacific Fleet, nuclear missile cruiser Peter the Great will probably retire quite soon, because Russian side find it too expensive to conduct some massive modernization program to keep this ship in the fleet. But same time, we have reports from RIA Novosti, for example, that according to some sources that RIA Novosti talked to, this ship, this cruiser, Peter the Great, will stay in the Russian fleet. So some contradictory between the reports, but TASS has much more detailed information, and I believe this is the case because according to TASS News Agency, name Peter the Great will be given to Russian nuclear submarine of a project of 955 Borei A. So if TASS did acquire such detailed information, probably this is true that Russian Defense Ministry did decide to not spend billions on modernizing this missile cruiser, and I don't know, maybe that's a right decision. I'm not expert in this field, but it's sad that this cruiser, which is the biggest missile cruiser in the world, nuclear missile cruiser, it's sad that this ship will leave fleet. Probably, I mean, if that's the case, then it may transfer in some museum or some, it will play some interesting role, of course. No one gonna send this ship on a scrapyard, I believe, but this is a last remnants. This ship is one of the last remnants of Soviet era fleet, because it was built during the Soviet era. So that's a ship itself. It's a huge, massive nuclear powered missile cruiser. Let's continue, and this is gonna be last news for this update. According to TASS news agency, official Seoul leadership of South Korea did make statements that they are not delivering offensive military equipment to Kiev because Seoul has interest to secure good relationships with Moscow. So of course South Korea did supply Zelensky's regime with some military aid, but still Seoul could send some tanks, for example, or some truly offensive weapons, but they did not. And yes, it's quite possible that South Korean government don't want to ruin relationships with Russia, and that's why they are taking some cautious position. They cannot withstand pressure from Washington. That's why they have to send something, but they are trying to balance this military aid to Ukraine and relationship with Russia. So yes, I mean, it's good if government of South Korea thinks that it has strategic interest. It is strategic interest of South Korea to keep good relationships with Russia, because it is really. So yes, this is it for now. And by the way, Russia is a great market for South Korean businesses, and that's one reasoning behind Seoul's cautious approach. And secondly, I don't think Seoul really wants destroy relationships with Moscow, because then Moscow may support Pyongyang, North Korea, in ways that South Korean government not gonna be happy about. So it's always complicated. Nothing is simple. So yes, this is it for now. I hope you will find this video interesting, and if so, please hit that like button, leave some commentary about any topic you like, and if you can, please share links to my videos or my channel with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, Telegram, or any other platform that you are active on. And if you think this channel is interesting, useful, and deserves to exist, then please consider to support with small donations through PayPal or by subscribing to my Patreon page. You will see links under this video in the description box. This is it for now. Have a nice day and take care.